Welcome to Big Boof Bets. It's the Get That Money podcast. I am Nate Stevenson, and as always, I am joined by Mr. Big Boofy Skirman and Mr. Tony T-Bone Guarino. How is everybody doing going in to Week 18?
Well, you said it right there, man. This year we have been graced with an extra week of regular season football. So obviously I'm doing awesome here because we get to do this for one more week, one more opportunity to get that money and share our favorite picks with the people.
I feel you, Boof. Exactly. Happy we get an extra week, but also sad that this is my last full week of Red Zone Sunday.
We're gonna focus on the positive part of that, baby.
I like it. I like it. What do you think, Tone?
Here we go. Dun, 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 dun. Pittsburgh's just giving us all false hope so that they can keep some stat that said never had a losing season, but it's not going to even get us into the playoffs, and we're definitely not going to the Super Bowl. But anyways, it's first ever Week 18 podcast. What isn't there to be excited about? New year, lots of new opportunities. So let's not waste any time. Boof, get into those recaps of the locks from last week.
Locks went 4-3-1. Winners were the Raiders +7, then the Raiders and Colts under 44.5, 49ers -12.5, and the Seahawks -7. Losers were the Bucks -13 against the Jets in a Mr. Bear Chest, Antonio Brown. Rams and Ravens over 46.5, and the Cowboys -6. And then the Buffalo Bills got us a push at -14. That'll bring our season total to 76, 75, and 5 with a 50.33% success rate.
Let's have a big week, baby. Let's get that up into the high 50s.
Yeah, that sounds like an excellent plan.
All right, well, we'll start the planning process with some Saturday football this week. We'll start things there with the Kansas City Chiefs at the Denver Broncos. The Chiefs laying 11.5 in your over-under at 45.5.
Hey, Boof, are the Chiefs still back?
Chiefs!
I mean, Chiefs. We already beat the Broncos by double digits.
To be fair, the Chiefs did lose last week, but I do think they're still back, yes.
I mean, you're right. But to be fair, I would say our resident Chiefs expert here didn't say to pick the Chiefs last week.
To be fair, that is correct.
So, when the resident Chief expert says you pick the Chiefs, guess what? Pick the Chiefs. You get them units, baby.
All right. I also like the Chiefs to smash the Broncos here. I guess the only question is, given the somewhat of a long shot for Tennessee to lose to the Texans, what's the motivation going to be for the Chiefs, especially for the entirety of the game here? So to kind of avoid any sort of backdoor crap, I personally would prefer to go with the Chiefs -6.5 for the first half because I do think they're going to come out ready to play and try and put them away early, and I think that's the better play. How does our resident Chiefs expert feel about that?
No, I was just about to say I don't hate that at all, especially you're giving me Drew Lock against Pat Mahomes, even if it's just for 30 minutes of football. Yeah. I think the Chiefs are easily a touchdown better. They were winning 10-3 at the half earlier the season when the Broncos had Teddy Bridgewater quarterback, and that game was much more competitive. So now you have Drew Lock at the helm for the Broncos. Yeah, I think it's a good call to go with laying 6.5 with the Chiefs here. So I'll lock it in to start things off with the Chiefs. Get that money.
Oh, yeah. Get that money.
Chiefs.
All right, well, the Saturday night game, we have the Dallas Cowboys at the Philadelphia Eagles. Cowboys laying 4.5, and your over-under at 43.
My gut instinct is to take the Eagles +4.5, but the reality is neither one of these teams really has that much to play for because the Eagles are in the playoffs. The Cowboys have already won the division but cannot play for the first-round bye. So I don't know. I question again. Motivation might not be the right word, but I just question how seriously these guys are going to be taking this one. So I'm going to pass.
Yeah, same thing here, Boof. My lean is definitely taking the points with the Eagles, but there's not much that can be accomplished by either of these teams here, except maybe moving up, maybe one spot seating wise. But neither has a chance for the bye. And well, obviously the Eagles definitely don't, since they're one of the last teams, going to be one of the last teams in. So I think it's just smart to sit on the sidelines for this one.
I see what you did there. All right, let's kick it on over into Sunday. We'll start things there with the Green Bay Packers at the Detroit Lions. The Packers laying 3.5, and you're over under at 44.5.
Yeah, if you want to get a little crazy, it's not available yet, but assuming it becomes available on Sunday like it normally does, I would take the Packers to win the first half and the Lions to win the second half. And depending on what the spreads were, I could entertain these spreads on both of those as well.
Yeah, I agree, Boof. I think that's a solid call. If the Packers end up playing their stars in the first half, I think you go Packers first half, and then look at the Lions live line potentially, or at the very least, just Lions second half.
All right, moving on, we have the Chicago Bears at the Minnesota Vikings. The Vikings laying 6, and you're over under at 43.5.
I like the Bears here. Obviously, I hate myself for liking the Bears here, but I just don't see the Vikings as 6-point favorites for pretty much anybody in the league. The Bears are playing somewhat competent football here. I think the Vikings are pretty much ready to be done with this season. Both of these coaches have a good chance to get fired by the end of the year. But it just seems like the Bears are playing a little harder and a little better right now, and they're getting 6 points. So that's what I like.
Yeah, Boof. I like the Bears.
I know, man. It is.
I'm sorry, I'm having trouble keeping it down. It's so tough to say. Yeah, I don't want to do it, but this is. Yeah, I think taking the points of the Bears is where we got to go. Are we venturing into vomit world and trying to lock the Bears here? Is that what I'm thinking?
We are. We're gonna vomit out a Bears lock here.
Oh, I'll give it a shot. Let's get in and get that money.
Oh yeah.
All right, well, let's take a look at the Indianapolis Colts at the Jacksonville Jaguars. Colts laying 15.5, and you're over under at 44.
I think the Colts clay here. I just don't know by how much. And with the Carson Wentz's propensity to just kind of be a game manager, we're over 2 touchdowns here. Do I think the Colts are going to win by double digits? Yes, but how much into double-digit land we go, I don't know. So I would say if you really want to touch this game, buy the spread down a little bit, under 14, or even maybe closer to 10 with the Colts, and throw it in some parlays.
Yeah, I agree. Like the Colts, too many points, so I'm going to pass.
All right, moving on, we have the Tennessee Titans at the Houston Texans. Titans laying 10.5, and you're over under at 43.
I like the Texans here. I know you heard me say earlier that it's a long shot for the Titans to lose. And that's fine, because we're getting 10.5 points. I don't need them to win the game here. Texans have been a little pesky against the league lately. And the Texans, as a matter of fact, won the first game that these two teams played, and that one was at Tennessee. So now we're coming home. David Mills is playing competent football at the quarterback position for these guys. And again, I'm getting 10.5 points. It's a ton of points. Give me the Texans.
Say that quarterback name one more time, Boof.
That is David Mills.
It's not Davis Sills.
Not like confused with Davis Sills.
I don't know why.
I'm sure that is a person somewhere, but I do not think he plays professional football.
Yeah, no, apparently does not. But I agree with you. I think taking the points of the Texans is the way to go. You were spot on with the breakdown. So this is going to be a bet it, don't watch it, and let's lock it in to get that money.
All right. Well, it's the last time I'll get to say this. We have the Washington football team at the New York Giants. Football team laying -7, and you're over under at 38.
Yeah, I think laying the 7 with the football team here is easily the way to go. The football team could win this game, 10-13 to nothing. Like the Giants just have crap at quarterback no matter who's playing. And I don't think Joe Judge is a very good coach. And so, yeah, it's that simple for me. Plus, you have Judge also inciting anger in the football team with him making fun of their sideline antics. So it just don't poke the bear. You already have teams that potentially lacking motivation at the end of the year. Don't give them a reason to want to just beat the crap out of you. So to me, that's just a little extra nugget. I like the football team anyway. I like the football team even more now. So give me the football team.
I like WFT as well. Giants, to me, have entered the Jacksonville, Houston, and Detroit echelon of poop in this league. And Washington is still a regular professional football team. And they win those games by over 7. So give me the football team, and let's go ahead and lock that in.
Oh, yeah, lock it in. Get that money.
Up next, we have the Pittsburgh Steelers at the Baltimore Ravens. Ravens laying 4.5, and your over-under at 42.
I lean to the Steelers with the points here. Possibly Big Ben Roethlisberger's last regular season game of his career. What I like even more is the under. The Steelers and Ravens, historically, they typically play in games that lean towards the under. And you're looking at the Steelers' defense heating up last week. Deontay Johnson might not play for the Steelers. They're missing a couple offensive linemen. They've been terrible on the road. Give me the under, and I'm going to double down. The Steelers have been even worse for the most part of the year at starting games. So I'm going to take the first half under of 21 as well.
Yeah, 100% agree, Boof. The Steelers actually, before last week against Cleveland, went 5 straight games without scoring a first half touchdown. So you combine that with the fact that there was only 10 points scored in the first half, the first meeting between these two teams, and the Steelers traditionally have even harder time scoring in Baltimore, and they've just been worse on the road in general. I think double dipping with the first half and game unders is definitely the way to go. And we're going to double lock it in. Let's lock it in and get that money.
Yeah. Get that money.
All right, the final 1 o'clock game is the Cincinnati Bengals at the Cleveland Browns. The Browns laying 6, and your over-under at 38.
So it is my understanding that Joe Burrow and potentially other Bengals starters will not be playing in this game, just due to the fact that it's highly unlikely that they can improve their playoff positioning. And then conversely with the Browns, they will be without Baker Mayfield. That may actually be an upgrade at quarterback with how he's been this year. And several other key starters, potentially no Chubb, potentially some starters on defense, offensive linemen, a little up in the air. But with the Browns being eliminated and guys being injured, motivation is low for them as well. And you combine all of that with the fact that it is supposed to be extremely windy with 20 to 30 mile per hour wind gusts in Cleveland. We have seen this story before. I believe it was just last year where there was a game between them and the Raiders in Cleveland. That there was less than 20 total points scored in a game in similar conditions. And now you add the fact that there's going to be a lot of starters out for both teams. Under 38 points seems like an easy lock for me, so much so that I'm actually selling points on it in the big parlays. So if you want to do that as a single bet, I don't hate that as well to get a little extra value. But obviously, if I'm going to sell points in the total, I love under 38.
I think you said it all right there, man. I'm in for under 38 for all the reasons that you said. So let's go ahead and lock that in.
Oh, yeah, lock it in. Get that money.
All right, moving on. We have the New England Patriots at the Miami Dolphins. Patriots laying 6, and you're over-under at 40.
So on some books, this is actually at plus 6.5 for the Dolphins, if you're interested in that right now. I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to wait and see if we can't get a plus 7, and maybe we'll tweet that out a little bit later. Dolphins actually won the first meeting between these two teams. New England has kind of feasted against some bad teams. Now, to be fair, so have the Dolphins. But in a game where both of these teams, in my opinion, are pretty evenly matched, Give me the side that's getting, almost a full 7 points here. Beyond that, I also really like the under 40 points in this one. I don't think either team's offense is very good. I think both coaches are willing to run the ball and punt it. And all of that to me is going to lead to a under 40 kind of game.
Yeah, Boof, I totally agree. The game between these two teams was 17-16 Miami. And that was, they went on to lose 7 straight games after that, which is still just crazy. But definitely not a lot of points scored in the first matchup. And these are two really good defenses and two teams that tend to lean towards the under. So I think going under 40 is definitely a good call. And as you mentioned, Boof, with the spread, I'm definitely down to wait to try to get a 7. This game opened at Patriots -2.5. It has already climbed, as you said, up to as high as 6.5 in some books. So with the way we're going, I think we're going to see a 7 at some point before game time on Sunday. So if we see that, we will lock that as well. But in the meantime, we're going to lock total and get that money.
Oh, yeah. Get that money.
All right, let's take a look at the New York Jets at the Buffalo Bills. Bills laying 16.5, and your over-under at 41.5.
In another almost vomit-inducing thing, like I kind of like the Jets. It feels weird to say, but they've been kind of frisky the last few games. And I think one of the reasons for that correlation is Zach Wilson is starting to play a little bit better football. He hasn't thrown an interception. He has not thrown an interception in 4 straight games, which is obviously a massive improvement for him. And this is just a lot. This is just a lot of points. If you can, it opened at 17. If you can get a 17 again, or if you just want to buy it up to 17 or 17.5 with the Jets, I don't hate it. And with that, generally speaking, when you have a team that's getting that many points with a total as low as it is, you take the team that's getting the points. And from my understanding as well, this is one of those games that could be massively affected by wins again. We've already seen that once this year in Buffalo. So, I mean, shoot, the Bills could win 17-3 and you cover. So, definitely make sure you see what the weather report is. But I lean Jets here.
Yeah, I lean Jets as well. The only thing that scares me is the Bills smashed these guys 45-17 in the first game, and it's enough to scare me away from the pick. So I'm just going to pass.
All right, moving on, we have the Carolina Panthers at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Bucks laying 8, and your over/under at 41.5.
So Tampa Bay doesn't really have much to play for here. I know they're going to be sitting some guys, or they might only play for a half. So that kind of makes me want to take the Panthers. I'm just afraid that, Tampa Bay just smashed them 2 or 3 weeks ago at Carolina. Now they're at home where they've been much better. And that's enough to scare me away from this one. So I am passing.
I totally understand that, Boof. I mean, if all things being even here, we already seen what a full Tampa Bay squad is going to do. I mean, 32-6. So if that was the case, I'd definitely be laying it here with the Bucks, and the spread would definitely be higher. But being that is not going to be the case, I think I would definitely not be afraid to put a little sprinkle on the Carolina money line here, especially with Sam Darnold starting at quarterback. We've seen what this Carolina team is capable of doing when Darnold is and that defense is playing well. And you're going to get a mostly healthy Carolina team against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers backups for at least half, if not more than half of the game. We're getting 3-1 plus 300 on the money line for Carolina. I think that's worth the sprinkle and throwing it in a long shot parlay.
All right, up next we have the New Orleans Saints at the Atlanta Falcons. The Saints laying 3.5, and your over/under at 40.
So Atlanta beat New Orleans 27-25 in New Orleans, and yet they are getting 3.5 at home. This is just one of those deals where I don't really see that big of a difference between these two teams. We already have the Falcons beating the Saints in New Orleans. and now getting points at home. This is more of a numbers play for me here. I'm just going to take the points with Atlanta.
I guess I like the Saints laying the points. They still have a shot to get into the playoffs. I would also lean towards the over in this game. I don't know. I just don't feel strong enough about either one of them, though. So ultimately, it's a pass.
All right, moving on. We have the Seattle Seahawks at the Arizona Cardinals. The Cardinals laying 7, and your over/under at 48.
Give me the Seahawks +7 here. I know the Cardinals got over their Cliff Kingsbury late season woes last week, but they're back home in their own friendly confines for every team that likes to come into their house and kick their butt. So I'm going to take the Seahawks on the road against the Cardinals here. Give me the fighting Pete Carrolls. Rah, rah, rah. We're going to stay competitive even though we don't have anything to play for here. And we'll keep it within a touchdown.
Yeah, Boof, I love it. Love the Seahawks +7 here. One thing I would disagree with you a little bit on. I don't think the Cardinals figured it out. I just think one thing that we actually didn't take into account with our handicap last week is that
Dallas will find a way to screw stuff up.
Well, I mean, yeah, basically. I mean, we a couple weeks ago, obviously, laid out how Cliff Kingsbury coach teams just, crash and burn at the end of every season. And I still think that they're in the midst of doing that. But we just forgot that the Cowboys are a team that has been doing that for over 2 decades. So they were just like, hey, bro, Cliff, hold my beer. We'll show you how it's done. So I think that was a little an angle that we forgot to consider. So okay, that's fine. Cardinals also have been better this season on the road, way better on the road, and we're getting a touchdown here with Russell, Metcalf, and Lockett on offense. I mean, the Cardinals could end up winning this game, but I don't think it's going to be more than the touchdown if they do. So give me the tutty with the Seahawks, and let's lock it in and get that money.
All right, the final game for the 4 o'clock games on Sunday is the San Francisco 49ers at the Los Angeles Rams. Rams laying 4, and you're over/under at 44.5.
The 49ers have beaten the Rams 5 straight times. 5 straight times. And they are just one of those teams that it's a bad matchup for LA. The 49ers have a good run game. Shanahan he has McVay's number. And we're getting 4 points. 49ers got to win to make the playoffs. Rams already in the playoffs, but they need to win to secure the division. I think the 49ers are the team that has way more to play for since the Rams can't get a bye, and they have history on their side. So whether it's Trey Lance or Jimmy G at quarterback, I have faith that Shanahan will get it done. Give me the points with the Niners.
Yeah, I'm also on board with the 49ers here. Trey Lance looked pretty good last week after a slow start to the game. I was impressed by the way he was able to recover. I look for big things out of him. And if Jimmy G, for some reason, would find his way back into the starting lineup, I have a lot of confidence in him as well. So Niners on the road against a team that they've already beaten 5 times in a row, and we're getting over a field goal. Holla at your boy. Give me the 49ers, and let's lock that in.
Oh, yeah, lock it in. Get that money.
All right, the final game for the historic Week 18 slate of games is the Los Angeles Chargers at the Las Vegas Raiders. Chargers laying 3, and you're over/under at 49.5.
I like the Chargers -3 here. I don't know. I might be an idiot, but I still think this team is capable of winning the Super Bowl. I think they are very talented at all the right places that you want to be really good on the football field for today's game. And they've had a little bit of struggles with inconsistency throughout the year. But I think if you just stick with them over time in favorable spreads like this, you're gonna make money off of them. So I'm going to take the Chargers -3 against a Raiders team that I do not think is very good.
Yeah, I agree, Boof. I also like the Chargers -3. I also think that Brandon Staley is definitely a wild card with how he is willing to take chances. And as we've seen earlier in the year, if you just get a run of a couple games in a row, like the Chargers had earlier this year, where they're hitting most of the time on all those 4th down conversions and whatnot, you can you can knock off some really good teams. And I mean, part of the playoffs and getting to the Super Bowl is just being hot at the right time. So I think that's definitely something that they cannot be ruled out as a dark horse in the AFC. And then on top of all that, Justin Herbert torches cover 3. That's the Raiders base coverage, and their DC is former Chargers DC Gus Bradley. So Herbert has a lot of practice torching Gus Bradley's defense, as he did for how long last season, getting to practice against it. So I think that's a lot of points for the Chargers here. Let's lay it with the Chargers -3 and get that money.
All right, well, that's it for the first ever Week 18 breakdown. So, Boof, why don't you go ahead and recap those locks?
We can do that. We've got 11 of them for you so far. They are the Chiefs first half -6.5, Bears +6, Texans +10.5. I just said Bears and Texans back to back here on the lock segment.
It's Week 18.
It's Week 18, baby. WFT -7, Ravens and Steelers under 41.5, Ravens and Steelers first half under 21, Bengals and Browns under 38, Patriots and Dolphins under 40, Seahawks +7, 49ers +4, and Chargers -3. And as always, it is time for Parlays for the People, brought to you by Nate.
All right, that's right. It is time for Parlays for the People. And we're going to embrace the volatility of Week 18. We have some people, some things, some teams, whatever you want to call them, in the big guy this week that you just don't hear very often. Boof mentioned it some in the locks, but wow, this first one here. If FanDuel's limit wasn't $1 million, we'd be winning $7.5 million on a $100 bet for this first one. That's right. You heard me correctly. If we could bet $100 on this one, we'd be winning $7.5 million. But instead, you can only bet like $12.50 to win $1 million. So, sorry, you can't bet 100 this week.
Oh, darn.
Darn. Sorry, people. All right, we're starting out with KC first half -6.5. I know y'all heard that one. Philadelphia Eagles +8.5. Bears money line. Bears money line. Indianapolis -13.5. Houston +11.5. Or if you want to get really freaky, throw their money line in there, and then you'll have to bet $1 to win $1 million. But I say Houston +11.5. Washington football team -6.5 or -7. This depends. I just threw 6.5 here. Let's just avoid the push. We're going Pittsburgh and Baltimore under 44.5. Cincinnati and Cleveland. We sold points down to 31.5. I believe the line on FanDuel for that was like +230. If you just want to bet that individually, I still think that's a great value bet there with the windstorm that's supposed to be there. But Cincinnati, Cleveland under 31.5. And then we're going to Miami +8.5 and under 44.5. We just did some adjusted spreads and totals there. That's not on FanDuel. That's not in the parlay section. We're going New York Jets and Buffalo first half under 21.5. Carolina money line, Seattle money line, 49ers money line, and the Chargers -3, which gives us a 15-leg parlay with odds of +7,535,416. That might be the most odds ever, Booth, for me. That might be it.
That has to be up there.
I mean, it's $7.5, dude. $10 bet wins just $750K. I mean, shit.
You're better than Powerball, dude.
Yeah, I'm taking a year off work. That happens. And moving on. Same parlay that we just had. We're going to make a few changes to it. And the changes that we're going to make, we're subbing Bears money line out for Bears plus 8.5. We're taking Indy minus 13.5 down to Indy minus 9.5. Houston plus 11.5 up to Houston plus 17.5. Cincinnati and Cleveland total from 31.5 up to 43.5, and we're taking the under still. Miami, we're going up to plus 14.5 and under 48.5. Carolina money line, we're subbing that in. We're subbing Carolina plus 17.5, and for that, taking Seattle money line out and going Seattle plus 11.5. Same thing with the 49ers. We're going 49ers plus 11.5, subbing that for the money line. And we're going Chargers money line instead of the spread of -3. And like I said, these are all changes we made to that parlay. So we're still 15 legs, and those changes will give us odds of plus 49,666. So $100 bet will win you just a shade under 50K. So we don't mind that at all. And then lastly, the get out of jail free parlay. Keeping it fairly safe this week, fairly simple. 6 legs, Cincinnati, Cleveland under 43.5. WFT money line. Steelers and Baltimore under 52.5. Seattle plus 11.5. 49ers plus 11.5. And the Chargers money line. That is 6 legs plus 651. Honestly, I love all 6 of those. If you wanted to play it super safe, then you can take the Chargers money line out. But yeah, I love all those. And I feel like this is going to be a week that will live in infamy because it's week 18, baby. Let's get crazy.
Love it, man. Thank you as always for sharing. Be on the lookout, guys, for where we are hopefully tweeting out a Dolphins plus 7 line. And in order to do that, make sure you're following us on all social media platforms at Big Boof Bets. Best of luck to everybody, and let's get that money.
Oh, yeah. Get that money.